What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here with If the Emperor Had a Podcast, Episode 2, Part 2. Alright, of course by the man Brava Alpha Busa. So we left off with the Emperor trying to change the ways of some of the crazier members of the Imperium, of the Space Marines. And Rogel, of course, is avoiding his responsibilities by not talking to his sons. So here we go. Let's continue and go.
Hold your throat, Gross. Hellbreak, we have more to discuss before I let you loose upon the galaxy once more. Codex Trooper, proceed.
Codex Trooper.
As established, the Black Templars do not adhere to the Codex Astartes, but instead follow the Oath of Sigismund. They are a fleet-based chapter, of course, with no official home planet whatsoever.
You cannot crusade with a planet. Believe me, we have tried this.
Right, yes. So the closest thing they
you had
have
a
to
Death
Fortress
Star
Monastery is the High Marshal's own Gloriana-class battleship called...
The Eternal Crusader is not a fortress monastery. Only weak, feeble conformists submit to the will of a book. The Eternal Crusader is the sacred spiritual home of we Templars, having been our esteemed father Rogel Dawn's favorite space boat during the early days of the Great Crusade. The greatest of its kind.
Yes, it's great. Incredibly great. Not a fortress monastery, of course. It's just your spiritual home and the base of operation. And, of course, a great boat. I'm certain its musk engineers vibrate your pancreas just right. Anyway...
just right.
Have pancreas! A filthy orc took them in glorious battle! I made him choke on them!
You be quiet for just a moment, Sir Knight.
Silence is for the grave!
You're standing in a Palisades grave right now, so shut up!
Thank you! So, the Black Templars are almost entirely fleet-based, and they are rarely assembled in their entirety. They are instead divided into a number of smaller crusades, going off on their own.
That's what I mentioned earlier. Remember that, Adorable? Remember when I mentioned that? Because I did. I did mention that.
If the Templars' crusade is actually just many crusades going on at the same time, is it really a crusade?
Of course it is!
It might be less confusing if you call the smaller crusades sub-crusades, like Sir Eggplant smartly did earlier. I mean, sorry, it's of course just a suggestion.
Good kid.
Were you just referring to me?
So our holy crusades are beneath the title of crusade to you? Is that what you are saying, small person? I will teach you to respect our fucking terminology, you subsized, subhuman piece of shit!
Whoa, hey,
Calm the fuck down!
Shut your mouth, Sigismund. I'm tired of your constant, overly aggressive whining. You will learn to take criticism, or I will personally assign you to an anger management class in the Eye of Terror. Am I making myself clear?
Oh! Drop the hammer!
I highly recommend you take the Sentry Bear's advice. The furious fire burning in your loins are like frail embers compared to the cold abyss of rage you are about to drop into.
I do not understand a word of what you just said, my Emperor, but I shall abide by you.
Right, so...
Anger management class, the Eye of Terror. That was awesome.
Crusades ongoing at any given time. The size of these crusades vary entirely based on necessity, depending on wherever they are intended to operate.
Just imagine if the Black Templars decided to deploy their entire legion in a single operation. The conflict would be over before a single Guardsman regiment has the time to go die.
Now you're pushing it.
Is optimism anathema to you?
It seems to be anathema to anybody in Warhammer.
So, the crusades are most often fairly simple in their final goals. Find planet, reconquer planet, kill all hostiles. When a world has been conquered by the Black Templars, they usually set up chapter keeps, which serves as potent reminder that the Emperor is always watching, in the form of giant, angry bolter monks playing Lincoln Loyalist songs at full blast all day, every day.
Well, blinking loyalist.
Tasteful.
The primary purpose of these fortresses, other than to act as trashy Space Marine nightclubs, is to find new recruits from the planet's populations, as well as acting as staging posts for future crusades.
I am certain their recruitment requirements is for the potential recruit to approach the building and make a personal noise complaint.
I mean, yeah.
Personal noise
If you're
complaint.
courageous enough to do that, knowing what ill fate awaits you, you deserve to become a space marine.
Damn,
You speak
good
of
point.
our secret recruitment trials like they are some kind of joke. Stop.
Yes, they are a bit crazier when it comes to choosing the cream of the crop, as they say.
Oh god.
Each and every single Black Templar is a champion and a hero of hundreds of campaigns, allegedly. And even
Allegedly.
before that
He
transition
throws
from
that in,
small
allegedly.
boy to strong superhuman, it is made certain that only the recruits with true potential are picked out. Many are harvested from fierce warrior cultures on the deadliest of death worlds, just to make sure they are a stocky bunch even before the increased muscle growth is administered.
You know, considering these chapter keeps are their primary, if not sole, recruitment drives, it sounds strange to the point of contradictory that a majority of recruits are from fierce warrior cultures on death worlds. I mean, how often do death worlds need reclaiming when compared to, say, hive worlds, or forge worlds, or even agri worlds? I would have thought the Black Templars had their keeps erected on such planets rather than death worlds and the like, considering the fact that populated planets are more at risk of being attacked and pillaged by Xenos invaders.
You are naive, Sir Nude Man.
Sir Nude Man.
Rude.
Our chapter keeps are most often built upon worlds that have not yet been conquered by the Imperium. Just like our Emperor had in the early days of the Great Crusade, we continue to reunify the Imperium with mankind's lost tribes across the stars.
So you often
Good
deal
point.
with humans, not yet enlightened by our glorious overlord then?
We spread his light wherever we go.
And pray tell, what do you do with these tribes upon finding them?
We rip out whatever primitive religion established in the years of solitude by its roots, and replace it with the sacred edicts of our god Emperor.
Sounds like the Emperor,
Anyone who
alright.
looks the least bit suspicious is to be summarily purged like the fucking heretic that they are.
Naturally.
As is the case with your name, iconography, titles, and organization, we are going to have to work on your stupid, archaic terminology, but that will be for another time. Continue.
Right, so when a recruit has been, well, recruited, they are subjected to the most punishing selection regimes imaginable to make sure they are worthy of joining the Eternal Crusade.
And they never
The
tried to
Templar
recruit Sly
chaplains
Marbo.
ensure that the
But
recruits are strong of spirit, and the chapter apothecaries check them down to the cellular level as to make entirely certain that they are free of the taint of mutation, as well as strong enough to live through the training they will be subjected to.
That's insane.
I'll never be a space marine.
Boy, never say never. Do not give up on your dreams.
I miss my eye.
Do you regularly check people
Wow.
down to the cellular level as to make sure they are not mutants?
Yes!
That is just fucking pedantic. You sound more like a bunch of insane house despots beset with germophobia. Man, you do space marines. Stop that immediately, please.
But...
Wait,
Wow.
sorry, my lords. I got a question.
What thoughts move in your tiny mind, boy?
Well, the Adorable told me stuff about the Codex Astartes book before, and can you please, like, tell me again what the thing was about the companies?
There are 10 companies in a Codex-compliant chapter.
Yes, and each of them have a captain and a chaplain, and then
Apothecary?
Apachikar?
Apothecary, yes. Get to
Oh,
the
yeah,
point,
apothecary.
please.
Right, so each company only has 2 of those last ones, but the Templars have, like, 1,000,000 or something?
What?
What do you mean?
We do?
I mean, they have one Apache guy and one chaplain
Apache
for
guy.
each chapter keep. And from what I've heard, they build chapter keeps on each planet they take over. And since they've been taking over planets for a lot of years, long time, there must be many planets taken over.
I understand what Boy is trying to tell us.
You do?
He is saying
You
that there
do?
must be a ridiculous amount of apothecaries and chaplains barked out in those Blackstone cabarets. More so than any other chapter, in fact.
Why
True.
deploy a dozen specialist roles per chapter when you can make 1,000?
I can appreciate that to certain extents, albeit these Marines might end up as shadows of true Astartes with their respective titles simply plastered on to create an air of authority. Compared to the few dedicated specialists in other chapters, the Black Templar specialists deposited on some tribal rock for the remainder of their service cannot possibly retain their fervor as Space Marines.
Do not worry, my Emperor. We never allow our Templars a moment of laxity, even if they are stationary. We make sure that the Black Templar of the Eternal Crusade always has something to fight.
Wait,
Be
what?
it Xenos, heretics, local fauna, unruly
Local-
citizens,
local
planetary
fauna?
giants, or severe anxiety.
Severe
That's the only
anxiety.
thing I ever fight.
That and whatever
Oh.
disease inflicts your lungs.
And the darkness in my right eye.
Once a
The
recruit
darkness
has
of
begun
the
his training, he becomes a so-called neophyte. This, of course, means he has to sever all links to his previous life and begin a life dedicated to the Eternal Crusade. The neophyte then proceeds to train in the Shatter Keep and, once deemed ready, is transported to one of the Black Templar Crusades.
And
Does he get to
where
pick?
do they go from there? Do they have
Wherever.
something similar to a scout company? As codexless as they are, even the Space Wolves have neophyte divisions.
No, blah, blah, blah,
Black
fuck.
Claws.
I cannot see the Black Templars doing something worse than stuffing their neophytes into power armor and having them act as assault troops.
That laugh is odd. Yeah, exactly.
No,
No
sorry, it's just that instead of having a scout company or dedicated neophyte division with teachers specialized in raising new Marines, the Black Templars instead have their neophytes separated one by one and then sent to individual Black Templar battle brothers. These brothers are called initiates, and they are to teach the young neophytes the ways of war and the sacred rituals of their chapter.
Wait, so
Okay.
wait, so
Wait.
An
Whoa,
initiate?
whoa.
Like a neophyte is given to another neophyte, or
Yeah, I know.
what?
No, I mean...
What do you mean?
An initiate is a battle brother.
Of course he'd be a battle brother, but he's not a full Marine if he's an initiate, is he?
No, I mean...
He is. An initiate is the term used for regular battle brothers in the Black Templars.
Yes.
What?
Thank you.
I with him on this one.
That is
What?
dumb.
That
Yeah.
is dumb. Thank you, my emperor.
I suppose they do
That
not
is
mean
dumb.
initiate as in someone who has been initiated, but rather an initiator. Someone who is initiating the initiates, you know?
Nope, still dumb.
That
is
makes
still
some
dumb.
more
That is
sense, but that's what I was
completely
thinking
still
of.
dumb.
Why can't
But
they
yeah, it's
just
still
call
dumb.
them Battle Brothers.
Yeah, see? Even Boy thinks it's dumb. Even Boy!
Even
Thinks it's
boy.
dumb.
Stop criticizing our holy edicts, unclothed one.
Clothed.
Professor Emperor is going to allow this. It is valid criticism, and you must take this verbal whipping for allowing
Verbal
such
whipping?
confusing terminology to plague
Yeah.
the minds of your initiates.
Do you mean the initiates or the initiate battle brothers?
Obviously, both.
Now
you
I-
fucking grease bomb.
Well, makes sense, I guess.
Now you're fucking
Just
with
to
his
move on a
head.
little bit, so each neophyte is given to a fully fledged battle brother in the chapter, who is then expected to train the neophyte as a pupil, yes?
Correct. Each neophyte receives their own personal tuition and training by their initiate. They are taught about the chapter's history, its secrets, and the responsibility that comes with the Templar bloodline.
It is quite non-metaphorically a chapter dedicated to homeschooling. I understand quality control is
Homeschooling?
not part of your asinine curriculum.
Yeah, we find our system works much better than what that awful codex demands. Now neophytes are allowed to fight side by side with our battle brothers and learn from their example. In return, these children learn to obey their masters without question, doing his every bidding, be it performing domestic chores, preparing feasts, or rinsing fluid recovery systems. A solemn oath is sworn by the Templar to train his neophyte, and will do so until the neophyte is ready to become a fully fledged battle brother, or until either of them dies.
Did you copy-paste your recruitment program from an old medieval tome?
What?
You could have just as well gone the full mile and called your neophytes squires, because that
Squires?
is what they are. They are squires
Yeah,
to
that's
your
true.
knights. They are servants of a Templar, looking to become a Templar themselves. It is an ancient system that I cannot believe an organization of Space Marines has unironically picked up on.
Unironically.
Professor Emperor can feel his bones rattle on a molecular level.
On a
Make it
molecular
stop.
level.
Excuse me, but aren't squires those silly, thin-limbed walkers that follow Imperial Knights around?
My Imperium is so fucking stupid.
To go on further, over a period of years serving their initiates, the neophyte receives all necessary genetic implants. It is the initiate's decision as to when the neophyte has finished his training. Only then is the neophyte given his black carapace and his power armor.
Excuse me, Lord, but I have a question.
What boggles
Question.
your brain? boy?
Question.
What happens if
Question.
an initiate dies before training is done?
Well, according to this, if the neophyte's training is incomplete, another initiate would take him under his wing, but only if the initiate deems the neophyte worthy of his wisdom.
Oh fuck no, how would that even work? What if a neophyte, for whatever reason, is rejected by every single initiate nearby? What happens to him then?
Perhaps he is sent back to his home planet.
What if he already has loads of implants?
I do not see how that could be an issue unless the gene seed is already implanted, sir. That's the only part of an Astartes anatomy that has any semblance of true worth.
And what happens if the gene seed has been implanted? Do they desperately
good
attempt
question.
to surgically remove it, killing the neophyte?
Making a lot of assumptions here. Why don't you let Helbrecht answer this one?
This hypothetical situation does not happen in our chapter, my Emperor, so you do not have to worry.
This is not very reassuring.
If it were to
Sounds like he's
happen,
covering
it
something
is
up.
clear to see that it was the will of the Emperor, you, my Emperor, that said neophyte was not meant to enter the Black Templars.
So what do you do with him? If the gene seed has already been implanted, the only thing you can really do is to not waste this precious, limited resources to still keep him around until his progenoid glands have grown new gene seed, then kill him and extract it.
Kinda answered your own question there.
That sounds like an excellent idea, Emperor. We
Oh
shall
my
employ
God.
this strategy in future instances of this happening. Shoving them into the meat grinder has not been the most peerless of tactics.
Even if this
Meat
occurrence is
grinder?
as infrequent as you make it out to be, I would greatly prefer you not waste significant resources and manpower to prepare an initiate, only to kill him, because he cannot be properly schooled and due to your inept trading hierarchy.
Wah!
Nevertheless,
Wow.
continuing on, when a
Friggin'
neophyte has
Waluigi
finished his
getting it.
training, he then becomes an initiate himself.
Still as confusing as ever.
Initiates are
Yes.
organized into Crusader squads, which are the most numerous squads in the chapter. These Crusader squads
Those
form
itches.
the backbone of the fighting companies that are organized within the Black Templar Crusades.
So they do
Okay.
use companies after all.
Well, sort of. See, each crusade in the Templars' Eternal Crusade is led by a marshal, or alternatively, the High Marshal.
That is I.
The leader of any
Oh,
given
boy.
crusade sections his crusade into fighting companies, if it is large enough to warrant splitting up. After this, a Marine out of the Sword Brethren, the Marshal's honor guard, will be elected to the role of Castellan, the leader of the fighting company.
So all of their organization is fleeting? Not even their captains are permanent?
Neither the Castellans nor the fighting companies are permanent. In fact, their entire organizational structure is incredibly independent and improvised. Marines will fight not out of any form of imposed organization, but strictly out of familiarity and comradeship. It is also worth pointing out that none of these squads have dedicated veteran sergeants, as all warriors who excel in combat are
They
elevated
were lax
to the rank
severely
of
in their
sword
command
bearer,
structure.
serving with their marshal or high marshal.
allowing any force, especially one as huge as the Templars, to organize themselves is a mistake, about as huge as the giant frilly pom-pom Magnus has hanging from his head. The chances of Squad segregating from the rest of their forces not only likely, it is an inevitability. By allowing these Marines, without a veteran to keep them in line, mind you, to form squads exclusively with those that they prefer the company of, an isolationist mindset of innate elitism will start festering in their minds. This will eventually lead to them seeing their fellow Black Templars as less or merely for existing outside of their self-ordained group of best
Actually, I'm surprised that hasn't happened already.
You're not getting overly worried about a problem that isn't as recurrent as you might expect?
Definitely not. You are underestimating the intrinsic self-interest in all of mankind.
That is very true.
No matter the amount of psycho-indoctrination.
A rather pessimistic point of view even I would hesitate to subscribe to, it has to be said.
And very
But
realistic.
Actually, I have another question. Something unrelated to the organization of the Templars, finally. Seeing as how the Black Templars look at psychers and see mutants undeserving of life, how do the Templars do basic things like travel through space or send astropathic messages?
Good
Both
point.
are ridiculously important to the Templar way of warfare, seeing as they are both fleet-based and spread out all across the galaxy. They must still make use of astropaths and navigators, yes?
No chapter in the galaxy could function without these psychers. Especially not the Black Templar.
Allow me to explain. Yes, the Black Templars are unfortunately cursed in having to deal with these abhorrent psychers for all eternity. But the psychers we do make use of are exclusively those serving non-combat roles, as to distance all our warriors from the taint of the warp. Those psychers that are allowed to serve us must have repented for the strain their existence causes on humanity, and must have been sanctified by those imperial organizations dedicated to such vile tasks.
How would you expect to cleanse the adolphinable taint of mutation from all of mankind when you allow mutants to work under your very willies?
We figured we would kill them last.
What great plan. I suppose you could decommission yourselves straight after considering the general consensus amongst certain organizations is that Space Marines, too, are undesired mutants and strains on human society.
Wouldn't be the first time you've given such an order, sir.
Could you stop chiming in with your passive-aggressive quips already?
No.
No. I think not.
It is getting a bit frustrating.
No, I share that sentiment. I just feel this constant urge to point out all the hypocrisy I can find, and I just cannot stop doing it.
Yeah,
Must not point out hypocrisy.
I'm just honest with myself, and with you. I don't know, after 10,000 years, I guess I've just kind of lost it. And there's something that is sort of making
He's
my
given up
blood
fucks
pressure
to
go
give.
haywire right now, especially with our Emperor's measurement techniques in mind. See, I just cannot help but compare this little discussion to a certain council that our glorious overlord decided to have a while back.
The Council of Nikeah was in a different time, and different actions were required to safeguard mankind.
The trial of Magnus the Red was a reactionary fuckfest where ignorant, self-deceiving sectarians were allowed to spew their sheltered judgments over a legion and a Primarch closer to you than any other. And you, of course, both allowed it and legislated in favor of it. And now, a few years later, you are criticizing the exact thing that you and your more ignorant sons did back in the day. Hypocrisy, hypocrisy, hypocrisy.
You are correct.
Oh, am I?
The children who stood against Magnus and his psychers that day were exactly the kind of dumbass isolationists that are ruining the Imperium to this day. Magnus was absolutely correct in his claim that being fearful of the unknown is the mark of the ignorant. However, my edict was not unjustified, and allowing Magnus to go free would have led to my other sons doubting my judgment. Just imagine if Horus had Lehman, Rogel, and Corvus on his side in addition to his original roster. Getting the Black Templars to stop murdering psychers is a far cry from the decision I made during the council. So, while you are correct, you are of course also incorrect, so please secure your stupid cone-headed face, you
once again,
naked
hypocrisy.
coalesce apologist.
Only as long as you start plugging up those cadaverous orifices all over your corpse, because you are leaking several bathtubs worth of liquid hypocrisy every day, and it is getting all the harder to clean up when I'm constantly reminded of the giant asshole it dribbled out of.
That is it! How dare you insult our Emperor in such a manner? You are supposed to be a custodian guard!
I am the conservator of an angry corpse, that's what I am!
And I am apparently a fucking babysitter to a bunch of spoiled, unclothed man-children who have been left home for 10 damn millennia. Guess we are all suffering in here. Absolutely fantastic.
Welcome to hell.
You know, looking back at this conversation, I don't feel mutants should be killed as much as normal humans should be. It's the normals who are the ignorant ones. It's the normals who define what's decent and what's not. It's the normals who constantly demand better living standards while abhorring the perma-hobo
Dude,
mutants.
this is getting dark,
It's the
man.
normals who insist on wearing clothes all the damn time. The normals are disgusting. We should bomb them.
Holy shit, no! Stop!
Please do not kill my family.
Shut up, boy! I'm trying to stop him from killing your dumb family, and you're interrupting
Stop
me!
bullying the boy.
Crap, what the fuck is going
He
on?
deserves
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
He a hater. He a buster.
He a bust.
Normals.
I'm sure Alamore is
It's gonna blow. It's all
Let's
gonna
do
blow.
it. Why not? Let's prove a
Your
point.
insanity threshold is bordering on coatic skeletus.
Stop criticizing
Yeah.
my clothing.
Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn!
Shut up,
I only wear the most fashionable.
What the hell? Did somebody pull out the One Ring or what?
Maim, kill, burn!
Is he gonna be the voice of reason?
Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn!
Indecipherable.
Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn!
Silence! I understand now. I
Yeah.
understand what you are trying to teach me. So please stop yelling!
Not exactly the intent, but go on.
I see now the folly of our ways. I have been blinded by my hatred that I am not seeing clearly.
Oh.
As you have demonstrated, the hatred in one's soul cannot be allowed to fester like it has. It must
Very
be
true.
exercised, culled, and tempered before it is unleashed. We must not allow ourselves to act rash nor assume the worst, for that path leads to dark places and loud screaming!
Loud screaming.
Yes, exactly.
Precisely what we meant.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Very good.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't want to kill no normals.
Thank you, my Emperor. Please tell me what you wish of us, and I shall return to my chapter and spread your word.
An excellent suggestion. My primary demand is that you stop fucking around with overt fanaticism, get yourselves organized more properly, and do not subscribe to this insanity-driven martyrdom garbage that the ecclesiarchy has been peddling. In addition, I actually came up with an idea.
It isn't a council, is it?
I wish to send a few, well, let's call them Transfer Brothers, over to your chapter.
Transfer, brothers.
What does this entail, my glorious overlord?
Could someone bust open a chart of all recorded mutant phenotypes in the galaxy?
Certainly. Here you go, my Emperor. Well,
Alright, so these Transfer Brothers will be sent over to serve in your chapter and learn of your ways, while you learn to utilize these new brothers to the best of your chapter's abilities.
Understood. So, who are these Transfer brothers to be?
I would like to send over a few Space Marine librarians.
What?
Why are you screaming?
Librarian!
Pressing pure wrath.
Understood, my Emperor. I am sorry. Please, carry on.
I would also like to send over a few Sanction Psychers to act in battle roles.
Battlesarcus!
Are you going to keep screaming for each new Transfer Brother I bring up?
I am sorry, my Emperor, but why? It is extremely rare and unconventional for Space Marine chapters to use normal humans in battle roles, especially Psychers.
Good thing you are already using the Codex Astartes as nothing short of toilet paper then. Continuing on, I would also like to send a few Imperial citizens with inquisitive minds who are a bit too vocal about their opinions, sort of like breast pads over here.
Why?
I figured that if there's
Breast pads.
anything a self-righteous, angry Space Marine would have problems dealing with, it's people with opinions.
Makes sense, I
Oh.
suppose.
Good thing you agree for once. Next up, I want to send some ratlings. Shut your fucking face already. You are getting ratlings. They are to be your brothers in arms. Deal with it.
But they're so unhygienic.
And just for not being able to keep your biases in check for even a minute, I am throwing in an extra mutant, like one of these felonies. They look pretty wacky.
Never heard of them before.
Sounds like some kind of tyrannid.
Are they
Yeah, it does.
cat people?
Cat people confirmed.
Fuck.
From
Cat
now
people.
on, I will check up on you and your new transfer brothers
Cat
every
girls.
other Voxcast
Nice.
to see. if
Elon
they
Musk
still
did
live.
come through for us
I
in the
will
end.
send a few of my custodians with you to act as my eyes and ears, so I will know exactly how well you treat your new brothers.
Very well, my emperor. I am sure they will all die, but I shall try to have
They will
them
all die.
not die.
Have them
That is
knocked
about
out.
as reassured as I can get.
Okay, so we're gonna pause this one here. So we're gonna see how things develop even further in the third and final episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Of course, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Share this video on social media. Help this channel grow, guys. Help us to reach that 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And, of course, click on the link to the original down in the description. Get down to Bravo Alpha Abuse's site and subscribe to him. I will see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.